So I'm guessing maybe Maria is the leader tonight. I don't see us in there anywhere. I don't know what to do. Oh, okay. Didn't ask me to log in or anything. Usually we can see. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Are we the first ones here?
The three of us here right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm just doing a little computer behind the scenes trying to figure out how to best screen share something for later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How are you guys?
Well, we're pretty good.
We're all huddled in for a long winter's night.
Yeah. Have you had to go anywhere today?
You know, my 93-year-old parents live in Roseville.
Oh, wow.
So I went out there this morning before the snow started.
Uh-huh.
And brought them their little Christmas treat. And my mom sent home a few Christmas cookies. So
nice.
Yeah, so we're all set.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we're all staying socially distant.
Yeah.
For the whole time. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, yeah, we all feel like we have to really.
How are you holding up?
We're doing pretty well. We have a little bubble with my parents because they help us with childcare. So we get to be with them for Christmas, which is nice.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We watched the children's program with Solomon, and I guessed that those were your parents in that scene with the Magi, correct?
Yes. Yep. I roped them in.
Yeah, I figured that. I said those have to be Maria's parents. I don't think we've ever met them at church, so I was just guessing.
I don't know if you both have been there at the same time before or not.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. I'm just realizing the monitor's on in here. I'm going to have to turn it off, otherwise we'll hear Solomon putting that to bed.
That's fine. We'll just wait.
Solomon to bed.
I don't know what. See where we are. Oh, that's that one. Oh, these aren't the other participants.
You want to turn that down? The light down?
If you want to, go ahead. Yeah. It's whatever works for you.
Okay, I think I'll mute us all so that as people come in, they can listen to the music.
That's just fine.
Perfect. Glad you're here.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Advent Oasis worship service tonight. In a moment, we'll be beginning, and I'll be lighting some candles. Let me just talk about how our little service is going to work tonight. We are going to have, in honor of the coming celebration of Jesus' birth, which we get to celebrate tomorrow, we're going to tell tonight a story about a man whose heart was changed towards goodness in the course of a single extraordinary night. And we will be telling a story of Charles Dickens, The Christmas Carol, tonight. And as I light our 4 Advent candles here, I will do so with the words of Charles Dickens. I have always thought of Christmas time when it has come round as a good time. A kind, forgiving, charitable time. The only time I know of in the long calendar of the year. When men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely. And to think of people below them as if they really are fellow passengers on this world. We light our candles tonight for ourselves and for all people, that this holiday may bring lightness where there is heaviness and joy where there is sorrow. And now I'm going to move positions here to get a little more set up. And we might have Eden making all sorts of noise, but I've got Carolyn here aiding us. So tonight, we're going to be doing a read of an abridged version of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. And in order to do that, I need some cast members. And so, Maria, if you could share the script so we can get a sense of how large it is and people's ability to see the words and read. And if you can zoom in at all, that might help a little bit as well. So the roles we're going to need, I'm going to be playing the role of the narrator. And I'm going to need a volunteer to play, to read for the role of Ebenezer Scrooge. And is there anybody out there willing to be Mr. Scrooge? Jan Gasterland.
Oh, I think I fit the role.
You fit the role. It's not typecasting, is it? All right. I'm going to also need a Bob Cratchit this evening. And could be male, could be female. Anybody can read for these parts. We're just going to have a little bit of fun tonight. Would anybody be willing to take on the role of Bob Cratchit this evening? We also need an Emily. So I don't know if Dave and Sue, if you're able to read that, this might be good parts for you, but I don't know.
Yeah. I unmuted us. I said I could be Emily, but I don't know if Dave can see the screen well enough to read Bob.
Well, where would it be here?
Yeah, it will come down.
And that kind of font?
Yes.
Yeah, I can read that.
So Dave says he can be Bob Cratchit.
Okay.
Oh, good, Dad.
Can we lock that toy in another room? All right, so we've got a Bob, we've got an Emily. I need a Jacob Marley. Is anybody willing to play the role of Jacob Marley? It's one scene, but it's an important one. Carol will play the role of Jacob Marley. Eden's sad that we locked his toy away. We'll need a ghost of Christmas past and a ghost of Christmas present.
I'll be present.
Carolyn has volunteered to be the ghost of Christmas present. Do I have?
I could be past.
And Chris will be the ghost of Christmas past. We've got a small roll of Fezziwig.
Oh, that's probably my dad's favorite character.
He's already going to be Bob Cratchit.
He shouldn't have volunteered for that one.
What was I thinking?
We didn't know. Yeah, I see we're going down the, yeah, Fezziwig is.
Fezziwig is a good one.
I want to be Tiny Tim. That's why I'm not volunteering.
You want to be Tiny Tim?
Uh-huh.
All right, you're all right. Maria's got Tiny Tim. So I'm going to ask Bev, would you be willing to play Fezziwig?
Bev, you're muted.
I think she said yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Would you be willing to play Fezziwig?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, when it comes to be, I muted everyone.
No, this is not going to work.
But you were muted when you came into the Zoom room. So when it comes your turn, you will have to unmute yourself.
Okay. We'll work that out. Eden wants to play the child, I guess. All right. Did anybody want a role that needs one? Otherwise, we'll have Carolyn will also read. I'll volunteer Carolyn to also read for the role of the child on Christmas morning. All right. And so we're going to begin. Pastor Maria is going to scroll through and we will see the script and just read as your part comes. And there will be a couple bits of music. And for those, my wife Carolyn and I will sing those, hopefully, if she's available. Otherwise, we'll be set to go. Oh, wait. Looks like Lynn Gasterland showed up. Lynn.
Yes.
Will you play the role of the child on Christmas morning?
Sure.
All right. It comes in at the end.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, we'll begin now. In 1843, Charles Dickens wrote the beloved story called A Christmas Carol. It's about a man named Ebenezer Scrooge. Scrooge loved money above all other things. To him, it was the most important thing in life, more important than family, friends, the people who worked for him, or people in general. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve day, old Ebenezer Scrooge sat busy in his money counting house. Outside in the cold, bleak weather, the city clocks had only just struck 3 in the afternoon, but it was quite dark already. Carriages and sleighs went by, the horses' bells jingling in the winter air. Scrooge kept a careful eye upon his clerk, who sat at a dismal little desk, copying letters. Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clerk's fire was so much, very, very much smaller that it looked like one coal. Meanwhile, the fog and darkness thickened, and the cold became piercing. Some carolers passed by outdoors, singing.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. For Jesus Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day, to save us all from Satan's power when we had gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Merry Christmas!
Christmas, bah, humbug. Go away, you miserable little beggars. Take your Christmas carols and get away from my door. I live in a world of fools. Merry Christmas? If I had my way, everyone would said Merry Christmas would be cooked for their own Christmas dinner. Ha! Back to work.
Oh, you're Cratchit, remember?
Mhm.
Not there.
At length, the hour of closing arrived, and Bob Cratchit, the clerk, stood up and put on his scarf.
You want all day off tomorrow, I suppose, it being Christmas Day?
If quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. I pay a day's wages for no work.
But it's only once a year.
Poor excuse for picking a man's pockets every 25th of December, but I suppose you must have the whole day. Be sure to be here all the next day earlier.
I promise. Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas? Bah, humbug, humbug, I say.
Something amazing was about to happen to Ebenezer Scrooge. A star of truth was about to shine in his life, and he had to find the courage to follow it.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Scrooge went home to his chambers, which had once belonged to his dead business partner, Jacob Marley. They were a gloomy set of rooms in an old and dreary building where nobody lived but him. The yard around the building was so dark that Scrooge had to grope with his hands. As he found the doorknob and put key to lock, he saw not a knob, but the face of Jacob Marley. Scrooge had not given one thought to his former business partner, Jacob Marley, since his death 7 years earlier. Startled, Scrooge looked upon the face of Jacob Marley and stared as it turned back again to just a knob. Scrooge put his hand upon the key, turned it sturdily, walked in, and lighted his candle.
Humbug.
Scrooge walked through his rooms to see that all was right. Nobody under the table, nobody under the sofa, and a small fire in the grate. Quite satisfied, he put on his dressing gown and his nightcap, locked his sleeping room door, and sat down before the fire.
Bah, humbug.
As Scrooge sat there, he heard a clanking noise deep down below, as if some person was dragging a heavy chain in the cellar. And he heard the cellar door fly open with a booming sound. Then he heard the noise coming up the stairs, then coming straight towards his door.
It's humbug still.
It was not a humbug, whatever that is. It was a ghost. Without a pause, the ghost came through the heavy door and passed into the room before Scrooge's eyes. A chain clasped round the ghost's middle, held ledgers, deeds, cash boxes, keys, and padlocks made of steel.
Who are you?
In life, I was your business partner, Jacob Marley.
Humbug, I tell you, humbug.
Scrooge, hear me.
Dreadful ghost, why do you trouble me?
Just a second, I have to move these pictures out of the way. I can't read them. Okay. I wear the chain I made in life. Each time I made money more important than people. Each time I made some poor family lose their home. Each time I sent a poor person to prison, I made another link in this chain. And now, in death, I must drag it after me. It's a dreadful burden, Scrooge. Hear me, my time is nearly gone, and I'm here tonight to warn you so that you have yet a chance of escaping my fate. You will be visited by 3 spirits. Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1. Expect the second on the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. For your own sake, remember what will pass.
Bah.
Scared and tired, with the hour past 2 in the morning, Scrooge collapsed on his bed and fell into a fitful sleep. Scrooge awoke in the darkness when he heard the bell sounding the hour. It rang out the hour of 1. Had he slept the whole day and into the next night? He remembered Marley's words and drew the curtains close around the bed in fear. But as quick as he did, light flashed in the room, and the curtains were drawn aside. Scrooge found himself face to face with an unearthly visitor. It wore a tunic of the purest white and a lustrous belt, and the dress was trimmed with summer flowers.
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
As the ghost spoke these words, they clasped Scrooge's hand and passed through the wall, and soon the pair stood upon a country road with fields on either side.
Good heavens, I was a boy here. I recognize every gate and post and tree. I could walk these paths with my eyes closed. And there, my old school.
The school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
Scrooge beheld himself as a child, thin, cold, alone at Christmas time in the old school, with no one to care for him.
I know the boy.
Scrooge wept as he remembered what a sad child he had been, always alone on Christmas Day. The ghost grasped his hand again, and then stopped at a warehouse door.
Oh, Fezziwigs. I had my first job here.
In they went, and at the sight of an old gentleman sitting behind a high desk, Scrooge cried out.
Why, it's old Fezziwig. Bless his heart. It's Fezziwig alive again.
Yo-ho there, Ebenezer, Dick.
Scrooge's former self, now a young man, came briskly in, accompanied by a fellow apprentice.
Yo-ho, my boys. No more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Ebenezer. Christmas Eve, Dick.
Oh, the Christmas party. He threw such marvelous parties. Plenty of cake and punch and pie. It was glorious. Of course, it cost him a fortune.
Scrooge could scarcely believe his eyes, seeing himself as he was then. As a jolly Christmas party began, Scrooge caught sight of a young girl, Fezziwig's daughter, Belle.
Ah, Belle, as lovely as ever. She always took my breath away. That was before I took the job with Marley and became infected with greed.
And then again, away Scrooge and the ghost went. Again, Scrooge saw himself, older now, a man in the prime of his life with an eager, greedy, restless motion in his eyes. He sat not alone, but with Belle, who had tears trailing down her cheeks. He had loved this girl once, and they were to be married.
Oh, Spirit, do not show me this day.
We cannot marry, Ebenezer. You do not love me as you did. I fear a golden idol replaces me, and gain engrosses you.
She rose and walked sadly away. Love of money had made him lose her.
No, no, don't go, Belle. Oh, foolish young man, to have prized money over that woman. Ghost, remove me from this place.
Shadows of the things that have been. They are what they are.
Remove me, I cannot bear it. Take me back. Haunt me no longer.
Scrooge found himself then in his own bedroom and fell heavily back to sleep. Can you imagine seeing yourself as you once were? What a gift the spirit of Christmas past gave Scrooge, helping him remember how he became the man he was. It was a painful gift for Scrooge, who was just about to receive another.
Wait for the Lord, whose day is near. Wait for the Lord, be strong, take heart. Wait for
Waking again in the darkness, Scrooge heard the bell again ring out the hour of 1. Had he truly slept so long? Trembling, he threw back the curtains and watched and waited. The time crept to 1/4 past, and he only saw a growing blaze of ruddy light, which was more alarming than a dozen ghosts. He got up softly and shuffled in his slippers to the adjoining room, from whence the light seemed to shine.
Ebenezer Scrooge, good fellow, come in and know me better, man.
Heaped upon the floor to form a kind of throne were turkeys, geese, game, poultry, great joints of meat, long wreaths of sausages, mince pies, plum puddings, barrels of red-hot chestnuts, cherry-cheeked apples, juicy oranges, luscious pears, and seething bowls of punch. And above it sat a jolly giant, glorious to see.
I am the ghost of Christmas present.
Spirit, conduct me where you will.
Gone was the fine food and punch. Gone was the room and the warm fire. Instead, Scrooge and the ghost of Christmas present stood on the threshold of a thin door in a poor neighborhood.
Blessings on this house and all who dwell within.
They went through the door as if it were merely a mist, and inside they found a merry bustle as the Cratchit family prepared for Christmas dinner.
Why, it's Bob Cratchit. This must be his house. This must be his family.
The Cratchit children set chairs for everyone. Bob took his son, Tiny Tim, beside him. Tiny Tim was small and thin and sickly. He could not walk very well and needed a crutch to get along.
And who is that little fellow?
That is Tiny Tim. When this old world drew on toward night, you came, but not in splendor bright, not as a monarch, but the child of Mary, blessed Mother mild.
Why is he walking with a crutch?
Ah, I fear that Tiny Tim is not well. He has been sickly all his young life.
At last the dishes were set on, and grace was said. Mrs. Cratchit brought in a small goose on a platter.
Hurrah! What a feast!
A toast to the founder of the feast, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Founder of the feast, indeed. How can he expect you to support a fine family on such a small salary?
My dear, it is Christmas, and we are meant to be generous with all, even Mr. Scrooge.
To Mr. Scrooge, then. God bless him.
Yes, a Merry Christmas to us all, my dears. God bless us.
God bless us, everyone.
Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner and a crutch without an owner, carefully preserved.
But no, that cannot be. Can nothing be done?
If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
Because of the gift of truth from the ghost of Christmas past, Scrooge has seen himself as a lonely child transformed into a man more inspired by greed than love. Because of the gift of the ghost of Christmas present, Scrooge has seen the hidden home life of his worker, Bob Cratchit. He has seen a sickly child who blesses everyone. And this touches the old miser's heart. It must have made Scrooge think. Here was a boy whose life was much worse than his, and yet he found a merriment in Christmas. Indeed, the ghost of Christmas present showed Ebenezer Scrooge many others that day, in many situations and stations of life, filled with joy and gratitude as they kept Christmas, uplifted by time with family and loved ones. The day passed and into the night. Parties and games and fun were shown, and Scrooge begged the ghost, giddy with it all, to stay and play and enjoy it. But then the clock began to ring, and the visions of merriment began to fade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Scrooge was again in his bedchamber. He lifted up his eyes and beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming towards him. It was shrouded in a deep black garment, which concealed its form and left nothing visible save one outstretched hand. In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow,
In the bleak midwinter, long ago.
I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
The ghost answered not, but pointed downward with its hand.
You're about to show me shadows of the things that have not happened but will happen in time. Is that so, spirit?
Although used to ghostly company by this time, Scrooge feared the silent shape so much that his legs trembled beneath him, and he found that he could hardly stand.
Lead on, lead on. The night is waning fast, and it is precious time to me. I know. Lead on, spirit.
Scrooge looked to find himself outside the door of Bob Cratchit's house once again. No sound of joy or merriment ushered from behind that door, but the somber sound of tears being choked back.
Why do they weep, spirit?
The spirit said nothing, just pointed to Bob Cratchit, coming up the street, head bowed down. Cratchit sighs and then squares his shoulders as he opens the door.
Sorry I'm late, my dear. I was at the churchyard visiting Tiny Tim's grave. I promised him I would visit it often.
Oh, Bob, I miss him so much.
So do I, my dear. So do we all.
That's enough. Cruel spirit, is there no hope that Tiny Tim could live?
The spirit said nothing, just raised one ghastly arm and pointed. The next moment, the spirit and Scrooge stood in a graveyard. The spirit pointed to one of the graves.
What is this place? Is this where poor Tiny Tim is buried?
The ghost said nothing, but merely pointed at a headstone. Scrooge crept towards it, trembling as he went. Following the finger, he read upon the stone of a neglected grave his own name.
Ebenezer Scrooge? No, spirit. Oh, no, no.
The ghost of Christmas yet to come did not stir, did not move.
Spirit, hear me. I am not the man I was. Good spirit, assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me, if I change my life.
The spirit did not move.
I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons they teach. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writings on that stone.
Holding up his hands in one last prayer, he saw an alteration in the ghost's hood and dress. It shrunk, collapsed, and dwindled down into a bedpost.
I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. O Jacob Marley, heaven in the Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees, old Jacob, on my knees. Thank you for warning me. Thank you for giving me another chance.
Running to the window, he opened it, put out his head, and felt clear, bright, jovial, stirring, cold. Golden sunlight, heavenly sky, sweet, fresh air, merry bells. Oh, glorious, glorious. Below in the street, a child hurried on their way. Awake, awake, and greet the new morn.
For angel herald its dawning.
Sing out your joy, for soon is born. Behold the child of longing, come as a
baby weak and
born,
poor,
bring
all hearts
together.
together.
He opens wide the heavenly door, and lives now inside us forever.
Hey there, child. What's today?
Today? Why, it's Christmas Day.
Saints be praised. Merry Christmas. I haven't missed it then. They've done it all in one night.
Merry Christmas.
Fine fellow. Do you know if they've sold the prize turkey hanging at the store? You know the one. It's as big as you.
It's hanging there now.
Go and buy it and tell them to bring it here. Do it and I'll give you a shilling. Do it quick and I'll give you half a crown.
Yes, sir, Mr. Scrooge. That's golden unto him. It must be a Christmas miracle. What's gotten into him?
I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's. He shan't know who sent it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim.
Scrooge dressed himself all in his best, and at last went out into the streets. Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He went to church and walked about, and watched the people, patted children on the head, talked with beggars, and found that everything could yield him pleasure. The day after Christmas, Scrooge was early at the office. He was waiting when Bob Cratchit entered, 19 minutes late.
Mr. Cratchit, what do you mean by showing your face around here at this late hour?
I'm very sorry, sir. It won't happen again.
Bob Cratchit, I can't stand this any longer. Therefore, you have left me no other option. I'm going to have to raise your salary.
Raise it, sir? Are you feeling well, Mr. Scrooge?
Better than ever in my whole life. A Merry Christmas, Bob. And may it be a merrier Christmas, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year.
You are serious. And a Merry Christmas to you too, sir.
Not only do I intend to raise your salary, Bob Cratchit, I intend to provide Tiny Tim with the finest medical care that can be found.
Tiny Tim? How do you know about my son, sir?
Oh, never you mind right now. I have quite a tale to tell, such as you would never believe. We will discuss all this very afternoon. Bob, over a cup of Christmas punch, but for now, let's see what we can do for some of the poor people who rent apartments from me.
And Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was as a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew. And it was always said of him from that great night forward that he knew how to keep Christmas well. And may that be truly said of all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed,
Come on, Tiny.
God bless us, everyone.
the end.
Yay.
Give yourself a round of applause, everyone. Yay for Scrooge.
Yeah.
Scrooge.
Excellent Cratchits. Most excellent child and pinch hitting Ghost of Christmas Present. And the Ghost of Christmas Past, Chris.
Yay.
And old Fezziwig, Bev. And Jacob Marley, Carol. And of course, Tiny Tim.
Little
Well-
fact about me, I played Tiny Tina in a production of A Christmas Carol once in my childhood.
Did you really?
Tiny Tina.
Well, thank you all for joining us this evening. And I think we can end our